everyone, it's Holly and I'm here with another video talking about another form of Disney transportation. And today we're going to talk about what is the newest form of transportation, the Disney Skyliner. So the Skyliner system is a system of gondolas that run on wire. I assume, I'm not an engineer nor an expert, but they run in the air. They're pretty common in, like, I think a lot of like European countries, especially like you think of them a lot when it comes to like ski resorts. They are enclosed gondolas. They're not like the open ski lift kind of thing. Like I said, it's Disney's newest form of transportation, and right now you can take the gondola to two Disney parks, Epcot and Hollywood Studios, and the resorts that you can get the Skyliner from, or obviously go to, are Caribbean Beach, Riviera, Pop Century, and Art of Animation. Although technically, because the Epcot area resorts are within walking distance of the International Gateway, which is where the Skyliner drop off and pickup is for Epcot. You can walk there. It's also technically accessible from like Boardwalk, Yacht and Beach Club. We actually did that a couple times on my January trip, and was very convenient. And especially if like you're Yacht and Beach, it is right there. Like, it is a very short walk over there. The way the Skyliner works is there is a central hub, and that is at the Caribbean Beach Resort. And so pretty much you're going to have to always transfer what line you're on. So say you're staying at Art of Animation and you want to go to Hollywood Studios. You're going to get on the Skyliner at your resort, Art of Animation. It's going to take you to that hub at the Caribbean Beach, and then you will get off, and then you'll get in line for Hollywood Studios, and you'll get on the Skyliner to Hollywood Studios. Now, the one exception to this is the Riviera. So the Riviera is very close to Caribbean Beach. So if you are going to Epcot, you will like say you're from Art of Animation, you get on the Skyliner, you go to the Caribbean Beach, you get off, you get on the Epcot one. It's going to go through the Riviera Resort, but you do not have to get off there. You'll just stay on and they will bring you over to Epcot. That also means that like the people staying at the Riviera can just get right on and head over to Epcot. They don't have to transfer lines first. It may sound kind of confusing, but there are tons of signage, there's tons of cast members helping point you in the right direction, and honestly it's pretty fast. Now, first thing in the morning when the parks are first opening, the lines can be pretty long, but once the Skyliner gets moving, I find it moves pretty fast. In my November trip, we went to Hollywood Studios and then took the Skyliner over to Riviera, and when we got to the hub, they weren't running the Skyliner yet because it was the Epcot one and they didn't open until 11. And so the line was pretty long. Now, you also have to take into consideration that they were doing social distancing, so it was even longer. But once it started moving at 10:30, I think we got on and we're at the Riviera within 30 minutes, which to me is not that bad at all. And part of that is because the Skyliner is basically an omni mover. It almost never stops, unless somebody needs help like getting on and off, or there's some sort of issue, so they have to stop it. But for the most part, it's like a continuous riding attraction, but it's transportation. So I find it to be pretty fast, and like during the day when you're not at like peak coming and going times for the parks, I find that you rarely wait. So like I said, it doesn't really stop. So getting on and off, you are getting on and off a moving gondola. So that is something to keep in mind. It can be a little intimidating. Don't worry. Just know this, you will inevitably make a fool of yourself getting on or off a gondola. Don't worry. We've all done it. We've all kind of tripped over our own feet. It's natural. It's normal. Don't be ashamed. It's fine. But it is something to be aware of. Getting on, I feel like, isn't that bad. It's the getting off part, because instead of like an omni mover attraction, If the parks where normally you're stepping off a walkway that's kind of moving at the same speed as your vehicle, you're stepping off onto solid ground. So like you step, and so one foot is on solid ground and one foot is on a moving vehicle, and so you're inevitably gonna like do this thing or like this thing. And that's fine. You're fine. You'll be fine. Just know, but you'll be fine. Trust me. Now you may be thinking like, oh, but I have a scooter or a wheelchair or something like that. Don't worry, Disney has thought about you. So what they do is they actually take the gondola, some of the gondolas off the line so that people who need more time to get onto them can go into a non-moving one, and then what they do is they'll add that gondola to the line. That's like a time when something might stop so that there can be the correct spacing between the gondolas. I would be remiss, I feel like, to not acknowledge the fact that there have been accidents on the Skyliner. There have been 2 that I'm aware of. The first one was pretty soon after it opened, where 2 gondolas did run into each other. I don't believe anybody was injured. And then actually relatively recently that happened again. This time both of the gondolas were empty, and I do believe that they have spaced them out even further than they used to be. I still think it is a safe form of transportation. I would still get on a Skyliner. I'm going in July. I plan on riding the Skyliner, and I say that as somebody who was petrified of these things, and I'm still a little nervous. I'm really afraid of heights. So I am afraid of heights, but I feel safe on the Skyliner and I am comfortable. Now I completely understand not feeling safe and not feeling comfortable. That is 100% your prerogative. Just be aware that for the most part, the Skyliner resorts like Art of Animation and Pop Century, the Skyliner is technically going to be your only option to get to Hollywood Studios and Epcot. So if the Skyliner is something that you're refusing to ride, you may not want to stay there. Because otherwise you're going to have to bring your own car or rent a car, get an Uber, a Lyft, something like that. Now, when the Skyliner goes down, like they don't run it in really bad weather, when they think it's unsafe, they'll obviously run buses, but that's not something that you can plan on or guarantee. And so that's something to think about when you're booking your hotel stay. The other thing is, I know there was a lot of concern when they first were coming out about heat because there is no air conditioning in the gondolas. So I have only ridden them in the fall and the winter, but I feel like I've been there on really hot days and I've never been uncomfortable. They do have like air openings on the top, on the front and the back, and on the bottom under the bench seats, on the front and the back, and you move at like a pretty good speed. And so even if it's not windy outside, the gondola creates speed, or it creates wind. So it does cool you off. Now if you were stopped and stationary for an extended period of time, it could get a little toasty, but I think for the most part it's not a problem. Now, like I said, I am going in July. This will be my first summer trip. I do plan on doing a video talking about my experience going in the summer. And so if I feel like it is particularly uncomfortable, I will let you know. But I honestly haven't seen a ton of complaints from people who are there a lot. Oh, so the Skyliner does hold about 10 people normally. There are 2 bench seats. And in the past, before COVID, I had been seated by myself and with other people. I think it just depends on how busy it is. If they feel like they can give you your own car, I think that the cast members will try to do that. But if they feel like they need to put more people in there to keep the crowds moving, they will. But with COVID, they've been putting 1 party per vehicle. Oh, and just like with the monorail, if you have a stroller, you would just roll it right on up and just have it be in there. So it's pretty easy. Like I said, I love the Skyliner. I completely get why people would be afraid of it, but as somebody who was afraid going in, I feel really comfortable and safe on it, and I'm loving it. I know there's a lot of rumors that it might expand because it's relatively inexpensive, especially compared to something like the monorail. So I wouldn't hate it if it got expanded. but we shall see. So that is me talking about the Skyliner, and I will see you next time. Bye!